There's a lot of good momentum in Japan right now. The labor market is starting to catch on. The credit economy is expanding. And then most importantly, really, Japan unfortunately does have a very bad, a very inefficient tax system. And to change that towards a shift towards indirect taxation via a higher sales tax, that's the right thing to do. It's structural change that needs to happen. And that's, after all, what people are looking for in Prime Minister Abe.
Now, Japan, of course, has had this debt. Of course, it wasn't ever as large as this, but it's always had this debt for quite a number of years now. It was always seen to be a wealthy nation, that it could take on this amount of debt. So, unlike, of course, the European economies, who've also got an extraordinary amount of debt. So why this sudden need to address the debt issue?
Look, I mean, Japan is not Greece. Japan has a lot of debt, but it's funded out of its own surplus, with basically about 90% of the debt owned by the Japanese people themselves. But at the same time, the Japanese Prime Minister Abe, is very aware that it is, putting a burden on future generations. And that's what this VAT, what this sales tax increase is all about. It's a generational transfer to tax more proportionately on the older population so that the younger generation can actually have room to breathe.
Now, do you think that Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, though, is creating something of a vicious cycle? I mean, last week we saw the government announce plans to cut billions of dollars worth of public spending to improve its finances, to address the debt problem, and yet they continue to push very aggressive fiscal spending.
But look, I mean, you're doing the right thing here in Japan, and that is, the transfer from public support, from Keynesian support, towards the private sector taking over. That's the key issue. Right now in Japan, you're seeing companies reporting record profits, record high corporate profits, and these record high corporate profits will be redeployed. You're going to see the start of a private business investment cycle, as well as companies paying out higher wages and hiring more people, and that's exactly this transition that's going on right now. Less government, more private sector, and the private sector's got the money.